Hi everyone, so today we are going to be doing Unit 12, Lesson 8, which is actually your math task. And so I wanted to model it together with you. But before we do that, I'm going to read you your objective, which is today we'll apply my understanding of line plot graphs to represent measurement data. So it's going to give you a little scenario, it's going to give you some lengths, and you need to create your own line plot based off of the data that it gives you. So I'm going to go through this right now with you. I'm going to read my little situation to you. So it says, Miss D measured thread for her needlepoint project. These were the lengths in inches of the thread that she needed to finish. So I have a bunch of different lengths here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 pieces of thread, and each of those 11 pieces of thread has a specific length. So let's go through those right now. 4 3/4, 4, 3 1/2, 3 1/4, 4 3/4, 5 1/4, 4 1/4, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, and 5 1/4 again. And I know that you're probably thinking, well, there's some repetition there. I see some lengths that are the same. And you have to remember that that's okay, because that just tells you that I might have more than one piece of thread that is the same length, or more than one piece of thread that I need. Maybe that they are different colors, but I need the same length of that thread. And this line plot is going to show us how much I need. So if I keep going, it says create a line plot, include labels and a scale. So whenever we have any type of graph, it doesn't matter what type of graph it is, I need to label it. So before I even get started with my data, I'm going to have a name for my line plot. I'm going to title it. So I'm going to title this number of threads measured. And I'm even capitalizing number threads and measured. Why? Because we know that it's a title and we always capitalize titles. Okay, then I need a label for below, and that's my scale. So my scale, what is that going to be? It's the length, because that's the data that I'm plotting. We know that all of my data are lengths. Okay, it's important to say what length it is. So we'll have that at the end. It's the length of thread. And what are we working with? Well, we're working with inches. Because if we give this to someone else, if I brought this to a store, and I said, here, these are the lengths I need, and I didn't write inches here, okay, then the person at the store helping me, they would not know if I needed it in centimeters, if I needed it in feet. They would have no idea. So it's really important to make sure that you put that it is in inches. Okay, the next thing that I need to do is come up with my scale. So if you remember from our previous lessons, we're going to look for the shortest thread, and then we're going to look for the longest thread. So let's see, where is my shortest thread? Okay, I'm noticing that my shortest thread is 3 1/4. So I'm going to circle 3 1/4, and I'm going to put an S for shortest. And then I'm going to see where is my longest thread, and I see that my longest thread is 5 1/4, so I'm going to put an L for longest. Yes, I see that there are multiple 5 1/4, but that's okay because they're the same length. It's the longest length. Next, I have to decide what am I going to start with. So you kind of have to play around with this because it depends if you're making your own kind of number line down here or scale, or if they already gave it to you. And in this case, they already gave it to me. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 little ticks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start at 3. I'm going to just start at a whole number 3 because I think that I have enough to at least get to 5 1/4. So I'm going to start with my whole number 3. And if I look down here, I always do my whole number, and then I go to 1/4, 1/2, which is the same as 2/4, 3/4, and then my next whole number. So I'm at a whole number, so what comes next? 3 1/4. What comes next? 3 1/2. What comes next? 3 3/4. What comes next? My next whole number. What's my next whole number? 4. 4 and, so now I'm here, 4 1/4, 4 1/2, 4 3/4, What's my next whole number? 5. And hopefully we make it. Let's see. My longest is 5 1/4, and that's exactly what I'm going to end with. All right, so it's okay if you started your scale a little bit lower. Okay, I could have started this at 3 1/4, and then I would have had my end point be a little different, and that's okay as long as you include everything that you need in your scale. Okay, even if you looked at the answers for this, it would say that the answers would vary or be different because everyone's scale might be slightly different. As long as your starting and ending, are similar and you're going by fourths because our scale has to be fourths or quarters. That's what we've been working with. So we're going to look and we're going to see, well, how many of our threads are 3 inches? Well, I know that none of them are 3 inches because we already said our shortest was 3 1/4, which is larger. How many are 3 1/4? Let's see. I have 1. I would check these off. That's a good strategy. 2. And that's all I see. So I'm going to really neatly put 2 X's. 3 1/2. Let's see. I have 1, 2. Now really quick, what if here I had, instead of 3 1/2, I had 3 2/4? What if I had a 3 1/2 here and a 3 2/4 there? Would I still have 2 X's? So your answer would be yes. Why? Because these are equivalent to each other. So if I had 3 1/2 and then 3 2/4, you should automatically know that those are the same. But I'll X this out right now so you don't get confused. 3 3/4, let's look. I have nothing. That's 3 3/4 inches. 4 inches. 1. That's it. 4 1/4 or 4 1/4. 1. 4 1/2. I have none that are 4 1/2. 4 3/4. 1, 2. Let's see. 5 inches. I have none that are 5 inches, and then I have 2 that are 5 1/4. So before moving on, I want to make sure that I have the same amount of numbers here as I do have X's here for my data. Let's make sure I'm not missing any. They should be the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Uh-oh, see, I'm missing something. That's why we go back. So let's see what I'm missing here. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put a check here. I have one more, 5 1/4. Okay? So you always need to go back because sometimes we miss something. I had an L here for longest, and I mistaken that for a check mark. So you need to look back. Okay? So if I brought this to the store and I just gave someone at the store, the needlepoint store, a copy of this, they would look at this and go, okay, she needs threads, she measured them, these are the lengths of the threads in inches, I need to go get her 2 threads that are 3 1/4, 2 threads that are 3 1/2, 1 thread that's 4 inches, 1 thread that's 4 1/4 inches, 2 threads that are 4 3/4 inches, and 3 threads that are 5 1/4 inches. Okay? So I hope that helps with your math test that you have. Tomorrow for your math, what you're going to do is basically create something very similar to this on your own, but you are going to go around your house and you are going to take measurements and measure to the nearest fourth or nearest quarter. And then what you have to do is you need to create your own line plot based off of the measurements that you found around your house. So we'll go over that together. I'll post something for that for you to help you with that tomorrow, but I want to kind of get you up and moving and do something different than the book. Okay? So I hope this helps with today, and if you have any questions, I'll see you at 10 a.m.